Thank you for everyone that has been watching and everyone that likes, is sharing my video and leaving comments for me. My name is Insonia. On this channel, we talk about financing and real estate. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for always tuning back in. If you're new to this channel, please do subscribe, like my videos, turn on your notification bell so that every time I upload, you're going to be the first to be notified. And don't forget to leave the comments as well. Please do share my videos too. Thank you. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the things you don't want to waive. Waiving just means you give up maybe your rights or your chances, or you decide you don't want to do it, right? So what are the things that you do not for any reason want to waive in the process of you buying a house? And some of these waives can actually cost you a lot of money in the future. So what are some of these things that you don't want to actually go through that struggle in the future, when you could actually deal with it now and know the things, right? Know what you have to know rather than have to deal with the consequences at a later date. So the number one thing you don't want to waive is home inspection. Home inspection actually gives you a clear detail of hidden issues in the house, right? It might not give you 100% if you don't do other inspections, but at least it gives you an overview of some of the things that could be a problem in the house. So these inspections are very important whenever you're actually going there to actually buy a house. You want to make sure the house you're buying is livable. The house you're buying, you're not going to be spending so much amount of money, maybe say 10,000, 20,000 immediately after you're buying the house, right? Even if you have to make such spendings, it should be at a future date, not currently, immediately after you buy the house. So make sure you do inspection, do your due diligence, and pay for that inspection before you go close in the house on the house, right? Pay for that inspection and let the inspector, the professional, get their job done and give you an overview of what is wrong with the house and every other thing, so you can actually go through it and know if the house you're about to buy is what you buying at all or not. So make sure you actually don't waive your inspection. The second thing I'll talk about you not waiving is called an appraiser. So an appraiser actually determines the fair market value of that property. So when we talk about the fair market value, it's what you actually are paying, the fairness, the fairness of the amount that the house is being listed for. So let's say the house is listed for $500,000, right? And when the appraisal is done, it shows that the house is actually way lesser than that price. So maybe the seller overpriced and you decided, oh, I don't want to pay for appraiser. Who can pay for $1,000, $500 for an appraiser that I can just go pay and sign this contract and get over it? You realize that after you waive your right of getting an appraiser, first of all, you will not even know the fair market value. You're just going with your own intuition, right? Or maybe someone else tells you. But if you don't have that fair market value on paper, might be the bank is not even sure to give you the loan. Reason being that they don't want to give you a loan for a house that is way more than what it's fair for or it's actually cost, right? So first, maybe the bank will decide, oh, I'm not able to give you this loan because you decided not to do an appraisal for us to know how much the house is worth. Secondly, you can be overpaying. Just give you an example of 500, and what if the appraiser comes back to below 500? That means if you did not, then you end up paying that 500, and what you didn't do is the difference between how much the appraiser was and the 500 is what is costing you. So let's say an example, the house appraised for 450 and you did not know that it's supposed to be 450 and you just decided to go pay the 500. That's how much in between you lost, right? So it's something you don't want to do. Even if you're paying the house cash, make sure you do an appraisal to make sure that, hey, I'm paying for this thing that is worth the value or worth the price. I'm not paying for a house just because the seller said I want 500 if he's gonna get 500 for this property. That's not how it works. Make sure you know the value you're actually going to pay for and don't stress going out there to make those payments without you knowing that you actually have a fair market value, correct? So the third thing you don't want to equally waive is financing contingency. The financing contingency is going to protect you in case your loan doesn't go through. When I talk about your loan not going through, simply means you had gone through all this process, you had your pre-approval letter and everything, and the bank told you, okay, when you find a house, we are going to give you two. Okay, so let's say your pre-approval letter was 300, and the bank says, yeah, we are going to give you 300 when you find a house for 300 or below. On that day, find the house now, and then the bank decides, hey, we needed more of this, some documentation from you, we need this, or something happened, or something along the line happened, and the bank told you, we are unable to grant you your loan, right? That means you went into contract, but you cannot buy the house because you don't have the money. So the financing contingency will allow you to back out from that purchase without being penalized. But failure to put that in place, you and your agent, well, that means you surely have to pay some penalties to the seller because you made the seller know that, hey, I'm ready to buy your house. Don't worry, you don't have to accept any other deposit, or you don't have to accept any other applications from people because I have decided I want to get your house. So of course the seller is waiting on you so you can pay them off and then you own the house and they have the money. So if you're unable to finance the house and the seller gets angry and say, hey, for my time being wasted, you have to pay me so penalties just because maybe you did not put financial contingency, well, then you have to pay that penalty even if you end up not buying the house. And that is money that you didn't plan for. So make sure you do not waive your financing contingency so that you can back out in case your loan falls through or it's unable to be processed. So number 4 thing is title search and title insurance. Most times you want to make sure you check on the title, search this title. This is the reason why there are all title companies out there. These companies will help you check that there are no liens. And when I talk of liens, it's stuff like taxes, unpaid taxes on that property you're going to buy, who might be the property owner or owners before them, right, had gotten some repairs done and never ever finished paying those repair loans, and now whoever loaned them the money has a lien on it. Or taxes, the most frequent one maybe you see is people forgetting to pay their taxes on that property. So you want to make sure, I'm not going to buy a property that once I'm done I have to start paying taxes so that you hadn't even been staying in that house. So what if the person had not been paying the taxes for the previous year and decide I just want to sell this house, or there is a lien on it and you don't know because you didn't do a search, right? What happens to you? You end up carrying all those burdens, and that is not something I want to do because I don't think that's what you want to do as well. So you make sure there are no legal issues on that. There is no encumbrance. So a tax search, a title search, and a title insurance is gonna make sure you obtain that property with ease. No other things attached to it. No external expenditures attached to it, right? And it protects you from unforeseen claims or legal disputes related to the property ownership. I want to get a property that I'm going to be the sole owner. I don't want to get a property that one day someone else is going to come knock on my door and tell me that, hey, this property has my name on it. So and so person sold it to you, but I'm the owner. Excuse you. I just bought that house, okay? So we want to make sure we do our due diligence and not waive all these things and make sure we check them, okay? Number 5, what you don't want to waive during the process of buying a home is homeowner's insurance. The first few years are going to be a little hard because you never know what is going to happen, especially if you stay in areas where there's flood, there's fire, or natural disaster. You never know. It might hit at any time, tornado. So you want to make sure you have homeowner insurance. You don't want to waive homeowner insurance because sometimes you really don't even pay for it upfront, right? So you want to make sure you have that homeowner insurance. Don't waive your homeowner insurance. What if you get a house and after a few months, fire, disaster happens, or a tornado strike? We all watch this. We all watch news, and we all know what is happening in various states. So you don't want to go through, my house was all crumbled, and now I don't even know where to start. You don't even know who to turn to. Because in that case, at least you might have if you have insurance, home insurance, you will turn to the home insurance for some help, right? And at least you can know that, hey, I'm safe somehow. Because at the end of the day, you can still file for a claim with your home insurance. But if you don't have any, what happens if such things happens to your home? That's a lot of money you have to spend. And not forgetting that most of us actually end up buying these houses on loan, right? You think the bank is gonna help you? I'm not so sure about it. So make sure you get yourself home insurance. And most banks are not even gonna allow you to actually get the house without home insurance because they equally want to protect their interests. So be mindful and don't just go get a house without, because most of us are already paying for insurance, right? We pay for insurance for cars, we pay for health insurance, we pay for, some people even pay insurance with their phones. So if those things that just cost you maybe $1,000, $10,000 or more compared to a house that maybe costs you a fortune, right? And just forget about paying the insurance. Well, you should be ready to pay for the costs when something happens. So number 5 stuff, what you don't want to waive is, I said number 5, sorry, number 6. Number 6 is the contingencies for inspections and repair. So these contingencies are in there on that contract with your seller to tell them that, hey, whenever we do these inspections and repairs come back, and the inspection comes back and you're ready to do some issues are wrong with the house. Let's say maybe they have to fix the AC, the lighting, the electric, or something that they have to repair for you to actually buy the house. Make sure you have this in place, okay? Because the seller cannot go out of it. Either they repair it or they actually pay for it or do a price reduction. So with this contingency, you actually are able to request that the seller rectifies any significant discoveries after a home inspection, and it gives you the opportunity to ensure that this property meets your expectation. You don't want to buy a house that doesn't meet your expectation, or buy a house that the AC system is already in bad shape, or there is mold, or there is pests. And you want to make sure this seller get these things repaired or fixed before you get in and sit in that house comfortably with your family. So this contingency actually gives you that opportunity or option to ask the seller. And mind you, if you decide to waive it, well, you're at risk now, because the seller can tell you, oh, we don't have anything like that, so you can argue you'll be forced to fix it by yourself. Because guess what? At a certain point, there's no way you can back out from that property or from that contract, right? So you want to make sure you have all these things in place. Make sure you have them in place while you go. Don't waive your right for contingency to inspect and repair, okay? Don't waive your rights. So number 7, it's gonna be reviewing all disclosure and documents. I said on my previous video that at the end of the day, you're still giving all these documents before the closing date, right? So make sure you review. If you did any repairs, if they did any price adjustment, make sure you review all these documents. Make sure you see that everything you requested to be fixed is in there. It was fixed, okay? And review it and make sure everything is okay. Any addendums that were done, any purchase agreement, seller's disclosure, it's in there and everything is okay, up to date, before you go in and sign that last date on the document and get your key. Because when it's signed, there's no going back. And the last thing, number 8, that you don't want to waive is your final walkthrough. It's called the closing walkthrough. Closing walkthrough just simply means you can actually go to that property you're planning to buy and make sure that everything you asked for the seller to repair was done. The seller has moved everything of theirs except the one they said they were going to leave, which is in the agreement, and the house is cleaned up. Okay, make sure you go for this walkthrough. Walkthroughs vary. You might decide with your agent and you talk to the seller and say, I want my walkthrough maybe 24 hours to the closing date, 48 hours to the closing date, and sometimes they'll ask you for more time, right, to pack out. So the reason why you want to go there is you make sure everything is still intact. So everything that you guys had in the agreement, let's say they said the fridge is going to be staying, the cooker and other things that are going to be staying, and it's in the agreement. You want to make sure you go in there and all those things are where they were supposed to be before they move. You don't want to go after closing and find yourself having so many things left unkept, uncleaned, unmoved. You find trash even outside. You don't want to come start doing the cleaning. It's a lot of work. I don't want to do that kind of work, so I don't think you two want to do it, right? So make sure you do this last minute walk through, because keeping it may result to unpleasant surprises. I'm not sure I want to have those surprises to myself, because like I said, I don't want to come and the repairs we agreed upon is not done. Well, I already signed the contract. There's no way I'm gonna get the seller to get that thing done, because of course he signed the contract. He sent you that those documents to review, saying that I had done it, and you even though you're going that day to sign that everything is intact, right? So why not walk through, see the house, make sure all the repairs are done before you go sign it and say, yes, I saw that the repairs I requested were done. I saw that you cleaned up. I saw that everything of yours has been moved. The house now is mine. It belongs to me, and it's okay for me to move in and it's safe. That's pretty easy, right? Rather than coming to unpleasant stuff that you don't want to see, and it's very difficult to rectify these issues after closing. So in the aspect of home buying, do not waive all these things, because first you're protecting yourself from any potential risk, You're making sure there is enough transparency, and you're not giving up your right, and you're making informed decisions from some of these things like the appraisal, the inspection, or even the walkthrough, the repairs that you're requesting, or even saving yourself from being able to back out, like the contingency, right, of your loan not going through. So no matter what you do, we all have one thing, one interest, common interest. You don't want to go through all this process, spend all that money, and at the end of the day not get the house, right? You want to get the house at the end of the day. So do your due diligence not to waive these processes or waive some of these things, and pay for them if you have to, and make sure that it's worth it, because what, yeah, it's worth it. All that inspection appraisal is worth the price. So not letting it, don't waive it for now and then get to pay for it in the future. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We've come to the end of this video, but before I let you go, we do have session, first time homebuyer sessions, and we have a lot of people coming in to educate people that are interested in learning how the process works or what it takes to actually get started to get a home. And if you're in Missouri or Kansas, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I'm going to give you all the updates and everything that is you need to know to attend this class. And keep in mind, it is an in-person event, right? These sessions are in person, so we don't have any Zoom links. If you're interested to join, we don't have any Zoom links, but we actually normally do Facebook, Facebook Live when we have this event. So if you're interested and you're living in Kansas or Missouri State, leave me a comment and I'm going to get back to you with all these details. In addition, if you are not living in Missouri and Kansas and want to know more about the home buying process, I do have a book called the Home Buyers Guide. I will have the link to that book in the description. And if you actually want it, you can actually request and read the digital copy. So you get to expand your knowledge on the home buying process. Okay? Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like it, share, leave comment. And if there's anything you want me to talk about specifically, please let me know on the comment section and we will talk about that. Thank you, and make sure you stay safe and healthy until next time.